The Johannesburg Multi-Party Government is calling on trade unions and political parties to stop misleading the public. This after the ANC accused the DA of being hypocritical and hiring unqualified people. A storm erupting over the city's decision to rescind the conversion of fixed-term contracts to permanent ones. Let's bring in now Leah Knott, the City of Joburg's MMC for Corporate and Shared Services. Ms. Knott, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. First up, can I ask you to respond to that comment by Esther Mchachana from SAMU, who says that your city refused, the city council refused to give the letters to the unions who represent the workers, but deliver them directly to the individual workers. And is that part of the process? Is that a correct way of doing it?
Well, I think we need to understand first that we're dealing with a political process, not a union or a labour issue. And that's been clarified by the executive mayor. I find the comments a little bit strange and bizarre. It seems as if we're playing this out as a sort of political circus in the media, whereas, you know, the reality is very different. So the process that was enacted by the previous mayoral committee was unlawful. They, in essence, made political appointments only, not administrative staff, that are tied to an administrative term or to a government of the day, and they converted them into permanent positions. And what council's done is undone this lawful decision and basically regularized their contracts and brought it back to fixed to term. Okay. Nobody's been terminated, nobody's been fired.
Okay,
so I'm just giving a little bit of background. Sorry.
We don't have a lot of time for background. Sorry, Ms. Knott. We don't have a lot of time for background. We'll get to some aspects of it. But Ms. Mchachana there from SAMU says the DA is not even honest about the employees it wants to release. Those are her words. And that the numbers could be higher than the current number of 130. Are you planning to dismiss more workers? No,
I think we must understand it's a multi-party government. All political officers are affected by this. Nobody was targeted. And the process was enacted by council, and the city manager was given the power to investigate the process and how it happened in the first place, and asked to manage the process of delivering these letters. That process started before SAMU came in to represent these political appointees. And in fact, the city engaged with SAMU and gave them up until Wednesday because they asked for an extension to engage the city on these people that they say that they represent. So I'm finding it rather odd that they are now in the media saying that the city ignored them and didn't give them a platform, when they have in fact been given this platform, and they've been given until tomorrow to make these representations.
You say in your statement, I have it here in my hands, a very quite lengthy statement. There's just one point I want to get out of the way now. You say there is no political witch hunt targeting a particular group of people. Is that true?
Absolutely. I mean, staff in the DA's political office, EFF, ANC, we all have office or political caucus structures. And the administration of the time has the right to pick the fixed-to-term contracts of that office, as do the MMCs, the Speaker, the Mayor's office, because those political staff are bound to the political mandate of the political head that they serve. And in essence, anybody that was part of that conversion process from any political office was affected by us addressing the process irregularity.
Okay. You say in your statement, and this is the very first point you make, which when you say these are the facts, you said the former mayoral committee adopted a report without council's approval to convert the fixed-term contracts of senior staff attached to political offices. How did this happen? How was this allowed to happen from what you found out, Ms. Knott?
Well, in essence, I argued this because we found out about it when we were still in opposition. And we actually wrote to the mayor at the time, it was Councillor Jeff Makubu, and stated to him that we'd found out through our staff that they'd been called into a conversion meeting. Us as a political party hadn't been consulted. We eventually resorted to consulting an attorney in order to liaise with them, because we stated at that time that they were usurping the powers of both the municipal manager and the council in terms of what they were doing. And they did this behind closed doors. They hired these people through fixed-to-term process and then converted it after the fact. It was never a permanent process. So we have been fighting it, and then in essence, just before the election, after Cochter issued a directive to say political officers are fixed to term, and this is how the legislation should be interpreted, they then did a second conversion on the same day, which essentially converted senior political staff members who are earning over 50, some over 100,000 Rand a month, in order to ensure that they captured the political office, knowing that the outcome of the election would not be in their favor.
So currently then, in your view and what you've done, you say you're complying with the law because you believe it was flouted, as you've explained, and that, in fact, these are not dismissals. Nobody's being fired, but you are regularizing the contracts which will come to an end in April 2022.
Absolutely. I think just to address another one of the comments from Samu is the delivery of the letters. I mean, I've received, no official complaints have been received from the city via intimidation. I can guarantee you that the K9 unit has much better things to do than deliver letters to political appointments in the city. And these were plainclothes security officers of the Public Safety Department. They were not officers of JMPD. And they delivered these in normal vehicles. So I'm not quite sure how it escalated to dogs and K9 unit, because I can definitely tell you that there are not enough resources to deliver letters of that extent, and neither do they have the mandate to do so.
Okay, finally, Ms. Knott, can you just enlighten me? What is a political office? Why do we need it in a municipal council? What does it do?
So political office staff do not perform administrative functions. They are not operational staff. They don't deliver services. They provide political and strategic political advice to the political heads. So myself, as the MMC of Corporate and Shared Services, I will have political staff in my immediate vicinity that are not part of the department. They assist me both in delivering my political mandate to the department. So it's very important that they are aligned to our mandate as a multi-party government. And this exists within the mayor's office. You can understand how difficult it would be if an executive mayor from one party had to have a strategic advisor or a legal advisor of a different political party. That in itself would stop service delivery in its tracks, because you would have a complete contradiction in a political office.
Okay.
It would interfere in services being delivered to the city, and it would essentially not reflect the residents' decision in terms of an election.
Okay, are there any more such political staff left now after this action that you've taken to regularize the contracts, which will be expiring at the end of April?
No, I know there have been implications that, this affects administrative staff and insourcing. It doesn't affect any administrative staff. This was a conversion process that we've addressed through council. There is no extended action after this. As we've said, there is no witch hunt. We are simply acting as council should and ensuring that we are compliant with COGTA regulations, with the MFMA, the Finance Management Act, and the Municipal Systems Act. And we have to do that. It's our duty to do so. So we're not going after anyone. We've simply addressed the process, and that process is now being undertaken. So those are the staff that are affected. But to say again that they are welcome to reapply to the current term of office. In many cases, political officers do reappoint staff members that have been in those offices before.
Thank you very much for clarifying that, Leah. She's the MMC, rather, of the City of Joburg for Corporate and Shared Services, Ms. Leah Knott. Thank you very much for your time.